Alright guys, Papa Pepper here with another one of the Wild Man's Wild Friends, and this is one of my favorite snakes for so many reasons. And I think it's such a great snake, a wild snake for children to interact with too, for so many reasons. This happens to be a juvenile. It's a young one. It would have hatched this year, and it's an eastern hognose snake. Now the eastern hognose snake has many different capabilities, and if you saw the post I made of asking if sweet pepper killed a baby snake, this was the one in that video. So we found it right on the front steps of my parents' house by Grandpa Pepper's, and I'm going to show you one thing it can do. If you notice how thin its neck is right now, well, if it gets provoked, let's see if it'll go right now. Maybe not. I got some good pictures anyway, but they've got a hood that they can actually puff up similar to a cobra, and they'll actually puff that up and hiss at people, and they'll actually strike too with their mouth closed, which makes people afraid. Some people call them blow snakes or things like that because they fill up with air and they'll make that noise like that. They'll hiss. So I'm gonna see again if it'll do it. Maybe not so much. I got some shots of it anyway. But then as far as other ones, they'll play dead, and we got some great footage of this one doing that. They'll open their mouths and they'll wiggle around like they're crazy. We got some great footage of it doing that too. And then not sure if there's much else. Oh, they'll vomit and they'll musk as well as defense mechanisms. The color of these is going to be about the same for the juveniles. They're going to look about like this, which is beautiful. Some people kind of think it looks like a rattlesnake. They look similar to a pygmy rattlesnake for sure, but if you know your patterns, you're not going to have to worry about that. And if you also know kind of what they look like and how they interact with people when they're threatened, you'll see there's differences too. You can see the slightly turned up tip of its nose. That's where they get the hognose name from. And they'll use that for rooting around in sandy soil, stuff like that. The patterns of adults are going to vary quite a bit. Some can be completely almost black or brown. Some are going to have different oranges and other colors in it. Some are going to be kind of like a brown version of this almost. Still won't go. But their diet is going to be a lot of amphibians. And they have a special desire to eat toads. I actually knew some people who used to run a nature center, and they had an eastern hognose snake there, and toads were hard to come by. So what they would do is they had a toad in one cage and a hognose snake in another, and they would catch frogs to rub on the toads to put in, so that way they smelled like a toad, and the eastern hognose snake would eat them a lot quicker. And actually one time myself, we found one out late in the year, and roommates, we had detained it past when we should have released it. So I decided just to house it over the winter and then release it in the spring, and wanted to make sure we had something to feed it if we had an opportunity. So it spent all winter in a terrarium with a frog. There was a little, well, he was about 18-inch hognose snake all winter in a terrarium with a frog. Never ate that frog at all. First toad of spring was caught. I took the frog out, rubbed the toad on the frog, put the frog back. It was eaten immediately. So it was just waiting for a toad. And these guys are considered to be non-venomous because they pose no threat to humans, but they actually are a type of rear-fanged snake, and they do have a type of mild toxin which they can use on amphibians, and they'll also sometimes use those teeth. A toad will puff up a lot too and be full of air, so they'll use that tooth to pop the toad, puncture it, but they'll also kind of sedate them with that toxin. And a lot of animals are not going to enjoy eating toads with the bufotoxin in the parotid glands, but for some reason these hognose snakes were created in a way that they really enjoy that, and that's the flavor they want. That's what they want to eat. And they're able to deal with that. So adults, they'll get over 2 feet. You'll usually find them between 2 and 3 feet, and It'll be in a variety of areas. There's some different types of hognose snakes throughout America, North America. And we actually, the only one we've ever found down in Arkansas was dead on the road, so that was unfortunate. But so nice just to walk out of my folks' house and immediately find a baby one sitting right there. In fact, the woods behind me is all on Grandpa Pepper's land. So again, eastern hognose snake, cute little baby one. And if you see, I'll link the other video too. Compare what it's doing in this video right now to what it did when Sweet Pepper picked it up. Because when Sweet Pepper picked it up, she grabbed it and right away it opened up its mouth. It started wiggling around like it was crazy. It played dead for a long time. This one right now, I can't even get to puff up its hood. Actually, back when around the time I graduated high school, I had a bigger one than this, but I told people it was a Madagascar hissing cobra. And it'd be fine on my lap, but all I had to do is kind of gently stroke it somewhere when somebody came by and it'd puff up its hood and start hissing. And at the time, people believed me. So, yep. Alright. One of the wild man's wild friends, Papa out.